Well, last week the stock market set a record, didn't it? It looked so great. And President Trump decided to tweet this out. President Trump took to his favorite platform, which was Twitter, to say the Dow Jones Industrial Average closed above 29,000. You are so lucky to have me as your president. With Joe Biden, it would crash. It would crash. So President Trump took to Twitter last week. Sorry about that. So President Trump took to Twitter last week to say, guess what? Stock market doing so well, S&P 500 up. I'm your president. I'm the man. I'm the reason it's gotten here. Well, this week, the stock market took a dump. That's right. And there's been a bit of panic on Wall Street. What in the world is going on? Tech stocks going down. There's a lot of anxiety right now. Who knows what's going on? S&P doing okay, NASDAQ getting hurt. What's going on? There's all this unruly nature, and it's only going to get worse, according to stock market analysts. And all those people that, invest like little penny stocks and do all that Robinhood trading and stuff, they're getting blistered. They're getting hurt big time. Where's the president's tweet? I'm waiting for the president to come out this morning and to tell us, well, now that the stock market is down, hey, it's my fault. The president's not going to do that. He wants to take credit when it's up, but not when it goes down. The stock market has been going down, and he hasn't taken advantage of it. Why doesn't he come out and tell us that stock market down? That's my business. And if you live by the sword, you have to die by the sword, right? If you want to go into battle and tell us that the stock market has you to thank, well, when it goes down, who do we have to thank? I know who we have to thank, because President Trump has gauged his success on Wall Street, a measure of his leadership. You've heard him talk about it time and time again, which is insane, of course, because it's totally separate from the reality of the American worker. Take, for example, the one I gave you yesterday about MGM Studios. MGM, of course, is going to lay off thousands of people. And guess what? Their stock went up because Wall Street loves unemployment. They see it as a great, now it's time to buy MGM stock because they're laying off 18,000 people. That's great. So President Trump ties the stock market to his success as a leader. Well, now the president has a new problem on his hands, this stimulus. That crappy, skinny stimulus bill that Senate leader Mitch McConnell rolled out yesterday saw the stock market plunge on the news. That's right. President Trump, his beloved stock market yesterday, took a big, nice nosedive because of it. So what is his argument now for re-election? You tell me in the chat, what's his argument for re-election right now? 30 million people unemployed, the stock market is tumbling, and I couldn't get a bigger, better stimulus plan packaged. Remember a few weeks ago when the president took to the podium and told us that we were going to see a bigger, better plan on this stimulus. And he said it was going to be bigger than what the Democrats wanted. Take a listen to what he said at the podium just a few weeks ago.
In terms of what we're doing, because again, we're going to be bigger, stronger, better than we ever were. That's going to be a tremendous incentive for businesses and also a great incentive, and maybe to me, most importantly, for the workers. So we're going to be asking for a payroll tax cut. We'll be asking for additional stimulus money, because once we get this going, it'll be far bigger and far better than we've ever seen in this country. That includes as of 3 or 4 months ago when everyone thought it was great, and it was great.
Okay, so back in March he's referring to, that was $2.2 trillion CARES Act that was passed. It's going to be bigger than it was in March. It's going to be bigger and better. We want direct payments to the American people, payroll tax cuts, money for the American worker. Do you feel good this morning? Has he lived up to his promise on this? Where has the presidential leadership been on the stimulus? It has not existed. You can argue with me all you want on it. The president had an opportunity to wring the arm of Mitch McConnell over the past few months and to get them on board and pass a further stimulus. Well, now he's in a pickle. Stock market is down on the skinny stimulus news that we saw yesterday from Republicans, and 30 million people unemployed. We're heading to an election, in like 50 days away. Early voting has already started in many states. The American worker is being squeezed. A lot of the low-income workers have permanent job loss. They're not coming back. And yet the wealthy are fine. The wealthy and upper middle class and upper class are doing just fine because they got corporate bailouts and PPP loans, and all these big companies did super well. So that's what Republicans wanted. They wanted these big bailouts for the corporations, and they got those. They don't want anything more. They don't want anything more. And now the president is in a real pickle here. But what happened? I mean, like, what happened to him? Just a few weeks ago, he's saying it's going to be bigger, better, stronger. What happened to him? I don't understand it.
What happened? Your balls drop off?
Exactly, Joker. What happened? You're the president of the United States. You're happy to go on Twitter and complain about some accusation from sexual assault allegations or anything else. You're happy to go on Twitter and slam CNN reporters for doing different things. You have the power of Twitter. You have the power of the presidency. You have the power of the television cameras. You have the power of a podium to go out there and say, Mitch McConnell, this little skinny stimulus bill that you tried to put on the floor of the Senate last night is not going to fly. I want to see where the president comes out on this. We're going to see the hypocrisy in plain view. If he comes out and says, Democrats won't sign this thing. I don't know what they're going to do. They're not going to sign this thing. We should sign this thing. And it doesn't come anywhere near the level of bigger, better stimulus plan that you wanted just a few weeks ago. Now, here is Mitch McConnell on the floor of the Senate last night talking about what this bill is not. Let's see if this engenders any confidence. I'm going to go through what's in it and what's not in a second, but here is Mitch McConnell telling us what's in this brand new skinny stimulus bill that he rolled out yesterday.
Now, here's what our bill is not. It's not a sweeping, multi-trillion-dollar plan to rebuild the entire country in Republicans' image. It does not even contain every single relief policy that Republicans ourselves think would help in the short term. I'm confident the Democrats would feel the same way. But the American people don't need us to keep arguing over what might be perfect. They need us to actually make a law.
Okay. So all we got, this is all I got. Here's what I have to offer, okay? It's not much. I hope you're sitting down. I had 50 days vacation, so I'm sorry. My mind's not even working right now. Been away for 50 days down in Kentucky. You know what that'll do to a person.
So they've been on vacation for the whole summer. Democrats passed their bloated liberal bill back in May, the HEROES Act. Use that as a starting point, okay? I don't understand why at $3.3 trillion you couldn't have started with that. There was plenty in there to like. Let me go through the things that were in there to like, okay? Landlord assistance, rental assistance, not just kicking the can down by putting these eviction moratoriums in place. No, actual money so they could pay rent. So they're not going to they'll be evicted in 4 months after the moratorium is up. That doesn't help anybody. Money for schools, money for state and local governments, direct stimulus payments, and more money for dependents. Not just $1,200 and the $500 we saw in the CARES Act, but $1,200 and $1,200 for those dependents. And adult dependents. I've seen many of you who've written me here on the show to tell me that, you have an adult dependent living at home. One woman said, my son has schizophrenia. He lives with me. He's 32. I take care of him. He's a dependent. He didn't get a stimulus check. They would have under this new HEROES Act that Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats passed. But there was plenty of crap in that bill. Yes, I mean, I don't even have time to go through all of it. There's billions of dollars in liberal waste in that bill that did not address things that needed to be addressed right now. Work on it. Instead, now you've got this little skinny piddly bill. So let me go through what it is. $300 in increased weekly federal unemployment benefits through December 27th. So couldn't come with the $600 that we had before. No, it's now down to $300, and that would be extended through December 27th. So that's something. That's something. Why cut them, though? You're giving trillions of dollars in bailouts to businesses. The Federal Reserve is doing this. We're taking care of corporate greedy guys right now, and we can't keep it at $600 a week for unemployment. We know that it kept people out of poverty. Yeah, no, let's cut it. Another thing is additional money for the Paycheck Protection Program. Of course, businesses have to have their piece in this. And it worked. I'm fine for it. As long as it's augmented by money for the American people, the American workers who are unemployed or who are home and don't have stimulus money to be able to pay for groceries and rent. Liability protections are also in this, of course, for schools and businesses. We're going to talk more about liability protection in just a second, as our next deep dive is all about the American worker. We'll tell you about that. Other provisions include $105 billion for schools. That's in here. $16 billion for coronavirus testing and tracing. $31 billion for vaccine development and distribution. Great, so we can do more puppy testing? Great. And if you're joining us late and you didn't know what I'm talking about, yes, the FDA is requiring pharmaceutical companies to do puppy testing on coronavirus vaccines. That's right. And they're not just any puppies. They're doing them on these little adorable beagles. That's exactly what they're doing. This one's getting a massage. I like this guy. But yeah, these little puppies, they take them and they're giving them coronavirus vaccine tests, and they don't work. We have a link in the description below if you want to take action against this. It's horrible. The scientists say it doesn't do anything. It's an 80-year-old law, and it doesn't actually address human conditions. I mean, we are biologically different than puppies. I don't know if you know that. I mean, sometimes I've got like a dog brain. You know, sometimes in business, I'm like a dog with a bone, and I'm focused, and I'm going to get something done. But I am not a dog. And neither are you, and we should not be testing coronavirus on puppies. What they do is they test them for a year, and then they die. They kill them on purpose, and then they cut them open. I'll have a link to that below where you can take action on that. I've got a hashtag here that you can follow as well. Make sure you take action on that. That hashtag, if you want to go on Twitter and learn more about that, is Cut FDA Red Tape. Cut FDA Red Tape. These draconian FDA regulations are absolutely disgusting. So $31 billion for vaccine development and distribution, and as well as $20 billion for farm assistance. Our farmers are being crushed right now, and farm workers are also being hurt by having to be on the front lines without PPE and being able to, and they're getting sick. They're getting coronavirus working for farms. And a lot of farms have had to cut employees because they don't have workers. They can't afford to get these workers in there, and unfortunately, we know our American farmers rely on a lot of immigrant labor. And with the borders closed, that's just crushed the American farmer. So I agree, we need farm assistance. But that's it. That's it. This is what Nancy Pelosi had to say about it. She called it a emaciated bill, and it's not going to go anywhere. It comes up for a vote tomorrow.
What Senator McConnell put forth is fraudulent. It is, as Leader Schumer said, emaciated. It's not. They call it a skinny bill, and he calls it an emaciated bill, and I join him in that. It's only a check the box so that some of his endangered Republican senators can go home and say, well, see, I tried. But it isn't trying. It's not even an attempt to do the right thing. And Mitch McConnell knows that because he has to satisfy those Republicans in his caucus who don't want to spend one more dollar, whether it's feeding the food insecure children in our country, saving their families from eviction, stopping the dismantling of the Postal Service so that people can vote without risking their health, with, again, first and foremost, crushing the virus and putting money into the pockets of the American people. What they have is so meager that it insults the intelligence of the American people, does not solve the problem, and it is not, again, we know that we have to compromise, we know we have to negotiate in order to reach an agreement. We all want an agreement, make no mistake about that. But get serious, get real, Mitch McConnell.
Get real, get serious, Mitch McConnell. Let me know your thoughts in the chat below. What do you support? What do you want to see in the next round of stimulus? Be detailed, please. Leave me a comment below this video and let me know. What do you want? What do you need? Do we need rental assistance? Do we need landlord assistance? Do we need healthcare assistance? Do we need unemployment assistance? Do we need direct checks to the American people? None of that is in this bill. Meager amount for unemployment benefits, $300 instead of the $600. But we're okay bailing out corporations. Great. Mitch McConnell and his wife, by the way, got money. They got hundreds of thousands of dollars thanks to their corporate bailouts Senate's taken care of. They're fine. And by the way, the Senate goes on vacation on October 9th again for another 30 days. So that bill will come up for a vote tomorrow on the Senate floor. It's likely, hopefully, to go nowhere, and they can actually come back and try to pass some meaningful stimulus. We'll see if they get their act together. But time is running out. Let me know in the comments below your thought about that, and smash that like button. And thank you so much for subscribing.